Welcome to the new episode of the Metal Matt Podcast. And as you might be noticing, if I sound a little bit better than I usually do, it's because I'm recording on a new kind of format. I'm recording this on my iPhone because, listening to, to past episodes, I'm finding out that this sound really didn't sound that great. It sounded decent for what it was, because I was just recording into a Rock Band microphone onto my computer. But hopefully this will sound better, you know what I mean? So today, we will be counting down my top 10 favorite, don't know quite how to describe it. I would probably describe it as horror scores / theme songs. Some of them are complete scores for the movies. Some of them are just theme songs. Either way, it's definitely going to be exciting. But before we do that, it's time to shoot the shuffle. Number 1, Backyard Brawl by Alice Cooper from The Eyes of Alice Cooper. The Eyes of Alice Cooper, I think, is a very underrated album. It doesn't really get a lot of love, but I think it should, because it's definitely, it definitely harkens back to the 70s Alice Cooper, that garage rock type sound. So it's definitely an album to check out. Number 2, Days of the Week by Fozzy from All That Remains. Obviously, I've mentioned Fozzy several times on the show. I think they're a great band, and their 2005 album is when they started to take things a little bit more seriously, because at the time, they were mainly a cover band. They did a few albums before this where they did a lot of cover songs, with some songs being originals, but for the most part they were covers. This one is where they started to get a little bit more serious, and when they became really good. It's definitely worth a listen. Number 3, Hate by Kiss from Carnival of Souls, The Final Sessions. This is a bit of an odd Kiss album. It's very grungy. It's kind of like Kiss's Motley Crue self-titled album. It's definitely a makeover. Not necessarily a good one for Kiss, because it doesn't really work that well. But this is one of the few songs that I do like on there. Number 4, Lost in America by Alice Cooper from the Last Temptation. Again, like I've said in the past, The Last Temptation, a really great album. So definitely check it out. Number 5, Lovin' Every Minute of It by Loverboy from Lovin' Every Minute of It. Loverboy is a pretty good band that really is kind of seen as a one-hit wonder for working for The Weeknd. But I think this song is also very good as well. Number 6, Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith from Permanent Vacation. Permanent Vacation, one of the best comeback albums of any rock history album, and it's a really good one. Okay, number 7, Be My Lover by Alice Cooper from Killer. Really good 70s rock album. Number 8, Gypsy Road by Cinderella from Long and Cold Winter. A really bluesy kind of Cinderella song that's pretty interesting to listen to. Number 9, Closer by Nine Inch Nails from the Downward Spiral. Nine Inch Nails is a great industrial metal band, and this is one of their best songs. And finally, number 10, Turn Up the Radio by Autograph from Sign In Please. While I like, what was that song? Blondes and Black Cars from, I can't remember that. That's the Stuff from their second album, That's the Stuff. While I like Blondes and Black Cars better, this one is also a really good kind of glam metal song as well. So that's it for Shoot the Shuffle, and this episode is going to be a bit of a short one, because I don't really have that much to say, but I just wanted to get something out before the next episode, which will be more noteworthy. But I just wanted to get something out for Friday. So I'm going to count down my top 10 favorite horror scores / theme songs. And I decided to go with both scores and theme songs because there's all types of different theme songs. But there's also not a lot of theme songs in there. It's mostly the score. And I think music in a horror movie is very important. So I decided to just go ahead and do this. Okay, at number 10, Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm mainly going with the theme song to the first one, because the first one is very iconic. It's just very well done. Like, Freddy Krueger hasn't had a lot of great music. Like, the fifth one actually has some pretty good music there, but for the most part, the series never really had, I don't know, I just like the first one a lot. Number 9, Seed of Chucky. And while it might be a bit odd to include something like this one here, I think it's pretty good. The score by Pino Donaggio, who I believe has worked with Brian De Palma in the past. Just a really great composer, and it's just really awesome. And while it doesn't really fit, and it's really kind of classical in the sense, and it really doesn't really fit the movie, but I think that's what makes it so great. Number 8, Curse of Chucky. This one was a great one, and this was done by Joe DeLuca, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But he was the guy that did the music for the Evil Dead series, and it's a really good one. Especially the end credits song. That's a really good one, and throughout it just has kind of that classic kind of score, you know. Number 7. Sleepaway Camp, and I'm counting mostly the theme song you hear at the beginning credits. And I just want to talk about Sleepaway Camp for just a moment. For those of you that haven't seen the first one, definitely check it out, because it's very... Some people might see it as a bit of a Friday the 13th ripoff, and while it does have elements of Friday the 13th, it really isn't, because unlike Friday the 13th, where it's like adults playing teenagers, I think these were actual teenagers. So, that's definitely an interesting change for it. Plus, the twist ending is very unexpected, and just really good suspense movie. The second and third one are mostly horror comedy, so if you like horror comedy, you might like the second and third one. But anyway, the Sleepaway Camp theme is just really kind of iconic in some ways, and it definitely plays during that last scene, which is why it's become so memorable in my opinion. So it's really just good, maybe a little bit repetitive, which is why it's probably so low on the list. But nevertheless, it's definitely an interesting theme that will be in your head for years and years. Number 6. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This was done by John Carpenter and Alan Hallworth, and just really good kind of creepy score. You can tell that it's done a lot on a synthesizer, and it has kind of John Carpenter-esque kind of score. And one of the things I like about John Carpenter's movies is that I believe for most of his movies, he's composed the music himself, which I really like. And he's done that quite a lot on his movies, especially Escape from New York, which if Escape from New York was a horror movie, I'd definitely put it on the list. But since it's an action movie, it doesn't really count. But the Escape from New York theme song is one of my favorite theme songs in all of film history. But anyway, just the great thing. And a notable thing is that there's a Silver Shamrock theme, which is done to the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down, and it's definitely very much an earworm, basically. It definitely gets stuck in your head. And others, like the title song and Chariots of Pumpkins, I believe, just really good and just really creepy, and it gives the film just definitely an edge to it. And it's an underrated film, without a doubt, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. Number 5, Child's Play 2. This is a really good score. Very much kind of a childlike kind of creepiness to it. This was done by Graham Revell, who's done multiple scores for films like The Condemned, The Crow, stuff like that. And he did some of the score for Sin City as well. So he's definitely a talented composer. Without a doubt, my favorite composer of all time, and he also did the score for Freddy vs. Jason. So he's done a lot of stuff, and he's without a doubt my favorite composer. Number 4, House of 1,000 Corpses. Now, this might be a bit of a strange thing to put on the list, but I just love kind of the very much the industrial kind of sound to it. I believe Rob Zombie himself did the score for it along with somebody else. I think Scott Humphrey, I believe, who at the time was Rob Zombie's producer, and just a really good kind of score to it. It really brings that creepiness factor to it. So that's definitely one of my personal favorites, and definitely creepy. Definitely exploitation as kind of music. Number 3, Friday the 13th. Now, mainly counting the theme to the first one. Really good, just really kind of gets its creepy vibe. When it goes, ha, 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 you definitely know that's Jason, or Jason's mother in the first one, coming up and killing you. Number 2, Halloween. I mean, it was obvious that this had to make the list. Like, come on. Like, you knew that this just had to make the list because it's just very iconic. Every time, the first time you hear it, you know exactly what it is. It's just iconic. It's timeless. It was done by John Carpenter, who probably doesn't get as much credit as he should for composing, all the scores to his movies and stuff like that. And this is one of the best theme songs, not just in horror, but in just in movie history itself, So it's a great, great theme and a great score as well. And finally, number 1, Bride of Chucky. I am dead serious. And I'm also going to go ahead and count the soundtrack to this one as well. Because the score is technically the soundtrack, because there's a lot of songs in there. But there's also an isolated score in there by Graham Revell, who also did Child's Play 2 and all that stuff I just mentioned. And, a lot of people don't really notice the score due to the songs on there by Stabbing Westward and Monster Magnet and Static X and Rob Zombie, White Zombie, and stuff like that. But it's a great score. Especially kind of Tiffany's theme with that, all those guitars and stuff like that. And it's just a really good score that is very underrated in my opinion. And not a lot of people notice it due to the soundtrack, but if you pay close attention while watching the movie, you'll notice that it's just a great score by Graham Revell. So that's my top 10 horror theme songs / scores. Sorry this was a short episode. I didn't have much to talk about, but it was still fun to kind of compile all these things. And when I come back on Wednesday, I will be talking about 2 films that have been requested to me. And those 2 films are The Strangers and A Perfect Getaway. So those should be pretty fun to talk about. And I'll see you then.